You seem hungry. Good thing your table is ready with Saturday Omaha.
Saturday Omaha.
Eat this.
Well, hey, this is Dave with Saturday Omaha, and we are sitting in studio and thankfully an air-conditioned studio with a wonderful guest. He has been making awesome food things happen around Omaha for a while. In studio, I have Sagar Gurung. How are you?
I'm doing great, Dave. Thanks for having me, and thanks for the nice intro.
Oh, yeah. No, thank you for being here and this is probably like your only day off, right? So for taking your day off to spend time with me.
Absolutely. My pleasure, yeah.
You always have lots going on in our food scene in Omaha. What was the first thing you ever started with in the Omaha area before we get to the new stuff that's happening?
Sure. I mean, I got a lot of catching up to do, I feel, because I haven't been a steady industry guy. I did this during college, and then I branched out, got my 9 to 5, and then finally came back. But my first attempt in the industry was a cafe.
Okay.
I'm originally from Nepal, so I wanted to bring something from home, and coffee is, I love the coffee culture part of it, and it seemed like a good intro for Omaha from where I come from. I wanted to bring something from home, so Himalayan Java.
Yes.
Coffee shop on 16th and Harney.
Yes.
That was my first
spot there.
First spot, yep.
I enjoyed Himalayan Java very much when it was there, right on my way to work, and during the pandemic and right around that time period. Definitely a saving, delicious grace. Restaurants, especially during that time, for me, were one of the things that kind of kept some sense of normalcy, even though we couldn't always eat in or whatever. It was like there was still some beautiful consistency, and there's this delicious food that is provided. So that was very, very cool.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah. And actually, interestingly enough, when I had come to eat at your brand newest spot, Kathmandu Momo Station, now also on 16th Street, and we'll get there in a second. My server was Chanda, and she was a barista at Himalayan Java.
Yes, that is right. Yeah,
I saw her face, and I was like, I couldn't remember. It's been couple of years. It's been a hot minute. Yeah. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I know you. Like, were you at Himalayan Java? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, can you remind me of your name? And she's like, Chanda. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's super cool.
Chanda's OG. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Still rocking it. So so cool.
Yeah.
So Himalayan Java closed a little while back, right?
Yep. Right around pandemic when that happened. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then Kathmandu Momo Station in Blackstone, was that the next spot to open up then?
Yeah. So Kathmandu Momo happened as we started the Momo journey 1 year in the cafe.
Ah, okay.
So yeah. So because Momo was something I had always wanted to do, but I just didn't have the confidence to serve it.
Sure.
Like as a business.
Oh, okay.
We would always cook for our friends, but I never knew how the mass would feel about it. So once we had the platform, the cafe, we slowly started testing it out. And one thing led to another, and then a lot of the industry folks like Paul from Block, Banh Mi, they were, and then of course Nick from Dandelion. They gave us the platform to kind of explore that a little more. And then eventually John from Script Town was generous enough for us to extend his little party space where Lazy Buffalo
is now. Yeah.
So he allowed us to do almost a year-long pop-up there.
Yeah.
On a regular basis. So we were temporary in nature because we didn't have the infrastructure.
Sure.
But we were bringing in our induction burners and, steaming Momo there as a pop-up. We started Tuesday, then we added Friday, then Saturday. So we actually were there for a whole year as a pop-up. And once we felt this could be an ongoing thing where people were coming back to eat some more momo, and that was when we decided to open a brick and mortar in the same spot. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, so started as a pop-up
So we were,
first.
we were super careful to see, is this something that people just want to come support us for a pop-up, or is this something they would want to come back and eat on a regular? And
Sure.
yeah, after a year, we were like, okay, I think we see the same people and new people. So that's when Blackstone happened.
So for those that haven't had Momo yet, so I was introduced to Momo from a colleague of mine, Magendra, and we had a team like food day, and he had brought in Momo. I'm like, what's a Momo? You know, I've been an addict ever since. And so my usual description is it's a dumpling. It's similar to a pot sticker, but not exactly. And it's definitely folded quite differently. Tell me from your perspective, if folks haven't had a Momo, what's a Momo?
So I think you could call it a pot sticker dumpling. Every culture, almost every nation has one or some form of dumplings.
Right.
So this is a Nepali version of that, just that. But every culture will do the spices or the fillings a little different.
Sure.
Some people even do sweeter base, sweeter fillings.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, the primary difference is the spices we do.
Mm-hmm.
So from other regional dumplings, that part of the world is more, I think dumpling is some part of a daily meal, or even if it's not daily, more regular.
Sure.
Right? You talk about, because we are, to our north, we have China, to our east, west, and south, we have India.
Yeah.
So India's form of dumpling, one of the many dumplings they have is samosa would be a dumpling, for example, or they have other forms. I wouldn't call idli a dumpling, but kind of like similar concept.
Yeah.
So Nepali style just happens to have curry spices, especially in that region, India, Nepal, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. Our cuisine is very similar when it comes to the fundamentals, but then people might have a little bit of different style depending on what's available in the region. So our form of dumpling just has curry spices. And then I think what differentiates our dumplings in the region is we are super focused on the sauce.
Mm-hmm. And very unique by like family too, right?
Yes. Yeah. So sauces are in, if you come more towards the valley, which is Kathmandu, the capital, it's more tomato, sesame centric.
Oh, okay.
Versus if you go maybe towards the mountains, it's more broth, soup, sauce kind of a thing. And then within the valley, different families will do different styles. So they might, some might do it with peanuts, soy. So people do different variations, but yeah, sauce is a big part of our Momo culture.
Yeah.
And then a lot of these places get more popular because their sauces are just
they have
amazing.
the sauce.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, so many different cuisines all over the world too. A lot of times a sauce, whatever that is, really does make the dish, quite often. And actually the last time you and I saw each other at the restaurant, because you can get your momo steamed or fried, and you're like, what should I get with the fried momo? And you're like, the sweet chili sauce is the way to go. And that is a good pairing for sure.
Yeah.
So the filling then could be anything. And I've never had a sweet momo before, but at Kathmandu Momo, you have pork, chicken, and there's a vegetarian.
Yeah, there's a
vegan
vegan option. We took it off of the menu for now, but we'll bring it back.
Coming back.
Those are the two protein options for now.
Got it.
Traditionally, it was more water buffalo meat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But as time changed, as more shops, more families adopted to serving it to the mass.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's made with literally everything you can imagine. So the sweeter momo I was talking about, the dessert momos, we don't do them, but people do like chocolate momos and, like...
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. So all kinds of momos, but primarily when it started, I think based on what the, availability was.
Sure.
So it was very water buffalo heavy.
Yeah.
And it has a very distinct flavor profile to it.
Sure.
It's a little gamey, but then they use a lot of bone marrows with the protein.
Oh wow, super savory.
So they make it super fatty,
Yeah.
Or they used to, and so it's just. I think for me as a momo lover, I would pick that over anything else.
That's your favorite.
Yeah, that's my go-to. Yeah.
Well, and the dumplings themselves, they're a little smaller. So you're going to, in an order, 10 or a dozen typically, and nothing wrong with sitting down and eating a dozen of them.
Yeah.
And they're a little smaller, maybe big around as a dollar coin or so. And I like the way that the dumpling wrapper is kind of folded and like pleated and almost twisted at the top. It's got a flower type look, or a flower that hasn't opened up yet type look to it, which is very, very cool. So, and those are all, I'm assuming, made in-house as far as how you're actually folding that dumpling. Does that take a little practice to get it to look that nice?
Yeah, it does. And usually if you are serious, if you're interested in making a good one, it'll take about anywhere from 2 weeks to a month.
Wow.
On a full schedule.
Wow.
We do all hand wrapped.
Yeah. I always like my momo to last a little bit longer when I'm eating, because you could certainly eat a whole one in a bite. I always feel the need to cut them in half because I want more. I want multiple bites of them. Boy, you could just knock them back like real quick. So, what's the process for actually cooking a momo? How does it go from raw to ready?
So the cooking part is the easy part. The production part is the more hectic. I wouldn't say hectic, but more time-consuming part. So we bring in our protein as a whole, then we ground it.
Oh yeah,
in the house, and then we mix it up with our spices and let it sit there for a day at least.
Oh, so everything melts together.
Everything, yep.
Nice.
After the curing time, and then we pull it out, and then we sit at a table, and we have 3 to 6 people around the table, and we get on a production mode. So just after that, it's just scooping and filling up the wrappers and just wrapping them and then throwing them in the freezer.
Okay.
And the reason we do a freezer is just for the volume, or else we can't people will be waiting more to eat those. So
sure.
So our process is to be ahead at least 3-4 days ahead of the next order.
Gotcha.
So that's the process. The cooking part is the simplest. As long as you have some sort of steamer. 15 minutes is an average. If you have a nicer pot, it might be 8 to 10 minutes cook. But we cook it anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. Our average standard time is 14 minutes, and then we plate them, and then traditionally back home we top it off with a sauce.
Oh, okay.
So we let it kind of drown in the sauce, and every bite of momo you take 2 to 3 spoonful of sauce. That's the way we eat it, but of course there's no
wrong way to eat a momo.
No wrong way to eat a momo, as long as you're enjoying it.
Yeah. So once you grind the ingredients and stuff, so the ingredients go into the dumpling wrapper raw and then cook through the steaming process.
Yes.
So it's not pre-cooked. Okay,
yes.
Gotcha. And then
at the food hall during rush hours, we'll do a few batches on the steam table, just so people are not waiting forever, because they have limited break time.
Oh yeah, people are running in there for a quick 30-minute lunch or whatever. And
so we will try to do that, but that's not the preferred method. So it's made to order, so once you place your order, we'll pop it in, and usually it's no more than 14 minutes unless we have a big rush or something.
Sure. So there's a lot of care going into the preparation of the ingredients and the folding and getting everything ready to go. And then on top of that, so you've got everything prepped, but then you have an additional, usually cooked to order move and except sometimes, like you said, at the food halls, because spoiler alert, there's a second Kathmandu Momo station at the Innerrail food hall in Exarban. So now being that we have the new place open off of 16th and Farnam, you can get your Momo in two spots, but they're steamed, so they're not submerged. They're in that they're just receiving steam from your steaming process.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we just use the traditional steamer, but you can actually submerge it. But for us, it just won't be feasible because the orders come in different. The pace is not the same.
Sure.
So if we just drown them in hot water and steam them that way, we're unable to really know which one we drop first, and then if we do it the ramen method with the strainer and you just dip it, and sometimes it just breaks.
That's what I was wondering, if it would open up and then you lose your filling.
Exactly, and especially if you have it boiling in the water, the probability just gets higher of wastage. So what works best for us is on a steamer, because we sometimes do frozen momos.
Oh, sure. Yeah, because you can get them to go sometimes, right? Yeah.
So just to throw them in the freezer and then whenever you want to, make them. But for a family of, if you and I were having that steaming it, you can actually just drown and boil them in water.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
It's not a cleaner look because it's nicer when you have it in the steamer.
Sure.
Because that'll soak more water. But you can do that as well, yeah.
That's awesome. And then, so you can also get your Momo fried, but how does the preparation on a fried Momo differ from a steamed Momo?
Oh, yeah. So we can do fried. The production is the same. The storage is the same. When we have a fried order, we'll just throw them in the fryer for lesser time because the oil, it's direct contact to the oil.
Oh, sure.
So it cooks a little faster. It's about 7 minutes and fried. But it's just a cooking method. The production is the same. It's the same Momo that we just put them in the fryer instead of a steamer. Yeah.
Awesome.
And then we'll try to pair it with a different sauce. The sweeter base is not a traditional one. That's something that we serve here.
Yeah.
But it just makes more sense for the fried items to go. We just like to pair those with the sweeter base sauce.
Yeah. So what is the full complement, the full list of sauces that are available with your Momo from Kathmandu Momo Station?
So right now we have taken out a couple of sauces just because after the pandemic the bandwidth kind of changed.
Sure.
But for now, we have the traditional classic sauce, which is your tomato sesame based, and we just do different variations for spice level on those.
Yeah.
We do mild and spicy. We call the spicy the Sherpa. And then every now and then we'll bring in the Grim Creeper, not Reaper, Creeper, because the type of chili pepper we use, it doesn't hit you right away. It slowly kind of builds, and then on the creeper we just add more chili and we add just a little bit of more spices to that. So it really hits you, but it slowly creeps on you. So that's one type. And then we have the mango habanero, which is a sweeter base.
That's really good too.
And I love those with my aloo chops or fried momos.
Yeah.
And some people dig it with steamed ones too.
Sure.
So that's another option. And then we have a sweet chili sauce that we pair that with the fried items as well.
That's fantastic.
So for now, these are the three different. But we do have, there's a crowd favorite that we usually do. We took that out just because it's labor intensive, and we'll bring it back. That's the jhol momo, jhol sauce.
I don't think I've had that one.
Yeah. So that's peanut based.
Oh, okay.
But it's nice and savory. The texture is, our classic is pretty kind of runny.
Yeah.
But that has a thicker texture to it, and it's very nutty.
Uh-huh.
We don't make it too spicy, but we'll add a little bit of kick to it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very traditional kind of a sauce from one of the shops that we used to like to visit in Nepal.
Yeah.
So we try to recreate that.
Yeah.
And we'll put that back in the menu at some point. Yeah.
So from sauce that you were familiar with growing up, are any of those sauces like kind of close to the family version there, or are they all similar?
So the sauce currently that we serve is from my wife's. She's the sauce lady.
Nice.
And the traditional jhol is hers too. That is the recreation of what we grew up eating at the shops. But the closest one we have at the moment is the classic.
The classic. Okay.
Classic, and give or take, I feel a lot of people make it because the spices we use is pretty similar, and some people might use just one different spice or something. So it's very similar. The super easier version, and we will have that at some point as well, as tomato cilantro with chili pepper.
Yeah.
It's very approachable, and it's almost like your Mexican salsa, just with the heat.
Yeah.
And a little bit of more leaning garlicky take on that.
Yeah.
So that will be very common to what Momo sauces are back home.
Got it.
But we don't have that, but yeah, the classic that we carry right now is probably closer.
About the closest.
Yeah.
All right. And so when you sit down to eat your Momo, how many Momo do you typically eat?
Oh man.
Because I think it's more than 12.
Yeah. I mean, I think historically, I think the most I've eaten is upwards of 70, 60, 70,
That's fantastic.
Yeah. But then it was different because I think now I have the abundance mentality because I have a Momo shop.
True.
I don't go crazy with, eating Momos. I think I'll eat maybe on a daily, I eat at least a plate, which is 10 pieces, But historically, I think it was more of not just the love of Momo, but it was the scarcity mentality where I was like, I don't know when my next Momo is going to be, right? So when we would throw down at the apartments during college years, like you would try to
get all you can get, huh?
Get all you can get, yeah. So I think the most I've had is probably a higher 70s or something along that line. But now impressive. I'm just, it's 10 to 12 on a daily though.
I was told by a friend who is also from Nepal, he's like, man, you just keep eating them. That's the move. You just keep eating those momos. Yeah. So. And it's pretty filling too. They are.
It could be a main course any day.
Easy.
10, 12. But I feel Nepali people's appetite is built different. I don't know. Like if you see the way we eat rice or momos, now we're talking momos. Anytime we do a Momo day, I think everybody eats at least 20, at least.
Nice.
And I'm talking about the women, the children,
everybody.
And there's a group that will eat upwards of 40, 50. But this is not in one seating, because it's almost a group event.
Yeah.
Where we gather around when somebody is, grounding the meat, somebody is spicing it up, and then we do little batches, and people are folding it as we're drinking beer. We put it in the steamer, so it kind of flows,
Yeah.
And then the steamer happens, and this is in a house. They're not steaming like we're doing in a shop.
Sure.
So every batch will probably have 20 for, 10, 15 or more people. So you'll get, in a plate, you'll probably, eat 3 or 4 pieces. And by the time it comes back, you have another 3, 4 pieces, and that goes on for hours.
That reminds me a lot of families making tamales, right? Because
Yeah,
you know if you're with your abuelita, your grandma, and you're not making one tamale, it's tamale day, and we're making dozens and dozens and dozens, and then eating, and it's a family experience assembling those, and that sounds much like what you're talking about here with getting the momo together, which is just beautiful. And momo to me seems like a very happy food. Those that I have encountered in Omaha that are from Nepal are very happy to share momo with you. It's a happy food to me.
It is, yeah. I mean, you'll find some Nepali people like, I don't care. But I think it's unofficial national food.
Nice.
Almost because every kid has a momo story.
That's awesome.
I mean, I grew up in the 90s. I'm a 90s kid. Things were much different back home than what it is now. I mean, things are much different everywhere.
Sure.
Yeah, this is like almost 38 plus years ago.
That's wild, isn't it? Yeah.
I joke, and I've probably said this a few times in other podcasts as well. If you have a Nepali friend and they haven't invited you over for some momos, man, I don't know how good of a friend you are. Like Nepali people love to feed. It's just in our that's part of our ethos. Like you take care of your friends and your guests, and the first thing is you focus on how to feed them.
Sure.
And so Nepali people are eager to make momos for you. I think if you have a close friend who happens to be Nepali, at some point, even if they don't invite you to their house, they will bring you a little lunchbox full of momos.
Oh, they're folded up. They're like little presents by themselves anyway.
Yeah. Kevin from Script Town, it's stuck with me. He would do the trivia nights.
Oh yeah.
Kevin. He would help us encourage the customer, because people didn't know what momos were.
Sure.
He'd be like, "Hey, next door, our friends from Kathmandu Momo station got little pockets of joy. Go get them."
That's accurate.
I still use it. Yeah. So I feel like there are little pockets of joy.
Absolutely.
At least for where we come from, it's
for sure.
Yeah.
It's a fun food to eat and easy to share, so that helps as well. And we were talking about the spiciness of the sauces as well. And for those that haven't tried momo out there yet, the fillings, at least the Kathmandu momo fillings, they're seasoned well, and they are spicy from that perspective, as in well seasoned, but they are not hot. That's where the sauce comes in. You can choose your heat level depending on what you want, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So the momo itself doesn't have any heat at all.
Yeah.
And just like you said, just that we use spices,
Yeah, I need some flavor.
Yeah, for flavor, but the heat comes from the sauce.
And you had also mentioned the aloo chops, which are basically a potato cake, a fried potato cake, right?
So just fried potato patties, yeah.
Yeah, and is there a little onion, or there's some other seasoning in there that besides just the potato, though, right?
So there's a mix of spices we do on the potatoes, and then for veggies we use onions and cilantros.
Nice.
And then that's another street food. So when I was thinking of Momo Station, my goal was to just do street foods that we grew up eating. So there are a few other items in the new location, and where we used to do when we started, because of the limitations we had in the kitchen.
Sure.
In Blackstone, we only opted for steaming and frying momos and a couple of other small plates, more bar food than Nepali, and then aloo chops. And aloo chops you're right, it's just potato patties with curry spices. So the spices are very similar to what we use in momo, just a ratio of what we use is a little different.
Yeah.
So and then for the veggies we do cilantro and onions, but then my personal favorite is to do a lot of green chili peppers on it.
Ooh, okay.
But then we can't really serve that to everybody, so we kind of opted not to. But traditionally, the street vendors would throw in like chopped green chili peppers, and it just
Yeah.
changes the game. Those are super good. We love those. Yeah.
I would definitely try
Yeah.
that for sure. So let's see. As we are talking here today, the newer location is kind of soft open, right? So your official grand opening will be August 10th, correct?
That is correct.
That is correct. But you can get there right now to get Momo. It's just that the menu is limited because you're soft open, but you can still get steamed or fried momos and various sauces and those aloo chops.
Yeah. Yeah. We've been soft open for about 3 weeks, and we're going to do the same program until grand opening.
Nice.
And we will continue having Momo. Momo is there all day, 11 a.m. till late night, midnight.
Fantastic.
And then we have the primary concept is the new place, Cattle Call. And we have a super focused menu for the cattle call part for now that we serve from 4 p.m. till midnight.
Tell me more about Cattle Call. So Kathmandu Momo and Cattle Call are in the same space. So when you are looking for hours of operation or menus or things, Kathmandu Momo operates all day, and then Cattle Call is towards the evening, right? So how does the menu change, and how does the restaurant morph or change when Cattle Call opens the doors?
Yeah, so it initially it might be a little confusing for our guests, but conceptually, what we have in mind for this place is eventually it'll be a 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. spot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because I have history in coffee. Right?
Yes.
So at the moment, for example, I'm at the shop every day, closing 1 a.m., getting home at 2. But I'll run the coffee program and the Momo program in the morning. And so third week of September, we're kicking in the coffee program. We're talking to some of the local roasters.
Nice.
We're hoping we can partner with them. And but anyways, coming back to what we have for now is the Momo is more of a guest kitchen. So we wanted to continue doing what we were doing in Blackstone, a similar model. So keep the Momo part light, but still have it available.
Yeah.
But we just don't have the bandwidth to, try to be everywhere.
Sure.
So the Momo program stays the same as it was in Blackstone, but just in Cattle Call.
Okay.
Right. So now coming to Cattle Call, what we envision this place to be is a neighborhood wine and a cocktail bar. And that will also have a small retail section for your wine and spirits.
Okay. Yeah.
So the Momo part will open from 11 a.m. till midnight.
Gotcha.
It'll just be a side menu. If people want to come and just eat momos, they can. Or they want to mix and match with Cattle Call food menu after 4, they can. And the Cattle Call part would be the kitchen will start making Cattle Call menu as well from 4 p.m. till midnight.
Gotcha.
And then the bar part is there throughout the day.
Sure.
Until the grand opening, we have, I think, about 7 or 8 items. We have one main course, but the rest of them are small plates and a couple of desserts. And we will keep some of this, but then we are developing and polishing a whole brand new menu.
Oh, wow.
That will be live from grand opening moving forward.
Okay.
So those will be the hours.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I haven't had the opportunity to eat at Cattle Call yet. So, and I must confess, I haven't seen the menu yet. So what genre of cuisine or what is the focus of the food there at Cattle Call?
Yeah, thanks for asking that, because the kitchen will be modern American.
Okay.
Chef Dom will be heading the kitchen.
Okay.
So he is, we have given him, from a business perspective, we have kind of brainstormed with him to say, this is who we want to be. the rest is his.
Ah,
So we have just said, this is our background,
yeah.
right? Coffee a little bit, and then the Indian concept. And it's almost like when I was envisioning this space, it's almost like I wanted to do a sequel of Himalayan Java.
Oh, cool.
Not Himalayan Java,
Sure.
but the culture part.
Yeah.
And then just include everything we have become since opening Himalayan Java.
Oh, fun.
So when we opened the cafe, if I can go back to that,
Sure, of course.
what we were envisioning was we wanted to be the coffee shop that I was used to growing up, you know, because we chose a neighborhood that by design we steered away from the drive-through side, which was not the smartest thing to do, but you know, but conceptually how I was thinking was I want a space that people can truly come and kind of have a sense of community.
Sure.
You know,
Come for a conversation.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Mhm. So this is my effort to say, can I revisit that thought process? But I've learned a couple of things since then.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can incorporate those and then provide a space, and that's why it was intentional to come back to the block where I started. You know, that's what I have presented to Chef Dom and his team. So the menu he has created is a mixture of lot of different elements, right? So he's actually playing with a lot of our spices as well, and it'll be adaptation of his heritage. His background is Italian.
Oh, okay.
We're Nepali.
Yeah.
So he's beautifully combining these two.
Wow.
He's using some of our sauce bases, for example, which I'm super excited about.
Oh, fun.
He created this dish called Morgan Ranch. He procured protein from Morgan Farms, and then took our potato patties, aloo chop, and did this amazing braised proteins. Oh man, it's so good. But coming back to the menu, the modern American and chef's background has been some of the places I love, you know. So whatever he learned from the chefs there, and he's combining to our style of food, and he's also keeping in mind of the cultural part of it.
Sure.
So I'm super excited. So it'll be modern American, tons of small plates, leading seafood as well.
Okay.
And creative dishes. We'll have rotating menu.
Awesome.
One thing we really want to do in this space is serve those who serve us, you know, meaning we're really focusing on the industry folks. So they usually close around 10,
Sure.
you know, in the area. There are, I think, a couple of late night spaces, but we want to see if we can be there for them until midnight. So it's catered around that too. So a lot of times if you know, when I close my shift, I can go home and open the fridge and warm up something or just eat. You know, the kitchen will make us something, so that's still good.
Yeah.
But then eating them every day.
Wear you out.
Yeah. So and then if I do try to find something out, if I want to go out and eat, and there are very limited options, and I think late night food always, most of the time, translates to kind of bar food.
Sure.
Good food, but might not always feel like you're dining out.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So our goal is to have some of that bar food element, but mostly we still want to do a menu that feels like the normal time menu.
Right, something you might get at 6 p.m. and
Exactly.
That makes total sense because that late night, you know, there's 24-hour places open and thank goodness for them. And you know, a late night burrito or something like that is always good. But you know, like you said, it's like if you want to have a sit down meal that isn't that same drive through type thing. My brother runs into the same situation because he, you know, his shift ends early in the morning. So, he's coming home at, 7:30, whatever. So his choices are breakfast burrito with a side of breakfast burrito. So when he finds something like, Sofer Kitchen in Midtown, they offer their full menu all day. So for him, he might be looking for that burger and fries, but he usually can't get it. And so whatever, spaghetti and meatballs or something in the early morning. Right. So I love it that you are on the flip side of that late in the evening for the industry folks that just got done working. And it's like, man, I'd like to have a nice sit down, maybe a cocktail and something that's a little more chefy, we'll say, have that and have a nice meal. That's wonderful. Yeah. And then providing a service as well as a delicious plate of food. So
absolutely, yeah. So that's the thought process. Let's see where we land, as we go. But
so have to keep an eye on all things cattle call as well. And I did want to touch on, we've got a few minutes left because you're also part of Saffron Indian Kitchen in Exarban. So tell me a little bit about Saffron. And I have been very fortunate to have had some plates there and some very good food. But from your perspective, tell me a little bit about Saffron and how maybe what makes it special.
Sure. So Saffron is a quick background on that is Chef Dewish is my co-partner there. Mm-hmm. And he's a computer science student turned chef. Well, he changed his whole school program at a very last minute because he picked up a job as a dishwasher in an Indian restaurant. He had been working there, and then he got promoted, pulled in the kitchen, and he realized he just loves cooking.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So I think it was, I don't think I'd be lying if I say it was in his last semester of computer information science, which we all graduated in. Uh-huh. And he switched gear and went to Metro and started it all over again and finished his culinary program from there. But it's been his dream to do a nice Indian place. Mm-hmm. And from my end, I'm more focused on the experience part, the front of the house part. Uh-huh. So Saffron came about from his kitchen dream meeting my aspirations to do a nicer dining space.
More fine dining.
We didn't want to really do fine, but more contemporary, casual, more modern style. You know, and so it kind of came together. So this was a concept 12 years in the making.
Oh my goodness.
3 years ago when we opened it. So, so the Indian cuisine to us is very close to Nepali, not just from a food perspective, from culture, and there's very, very gray between India and Nepal's culture, if I'm saying this right. For example, I grew up in India. I was in northern India, Dehradun for 6 years as a kid, and then I moved to America after that. Chef Devesh, he lives in a border town that crosses the border on a daily for the daily needs.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you go to India for whatever you need, bring it back home.
Yeah.
And then to add to that, I think I wouldn't be exaggerating if I say probably good 50 to 60% of Indian kitchen head chefs are Nepali.
Really? Very interesting. Okay.
And I'm not just talking about in America. Like you go to Europe, like when we go to an Indian restaurant, and I've visited the UK, France. If I go to an Indian restaurant, I'm pretty confident I'll find a Nepali server, a Nepali chef. If there's six people in the kitchen, at least 2 will be Nepali. So for a lot of Nepali restaurant, like folks with having restaurant aspirations about restaurant, most of the time the first restaurant they actually do is Indian.
I'll be darned. Huh.
Yeah, because just of the popularity.
Sure.
It's also the fact that they might have just spend most of their lives cooking Indian food. Chef Devesh, that's 90% of his cooking is Indian.
Gotcha.
Then he joined other kitchens. But I think pre-Metro, all he did was Indian cooking. Right?
Okay.
So that's what landed us to Saffron. So it was 12 years in the making, just me and him just saying, oh, if we do it, we'll do it this way.
Yeah.
I think we got close to how we wanted it to do. And
It's a beautiful space.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he is a great, his cooking is great. And I love eating there. So
Yeah.
we just hope that people enjoy the space and the food as much as we do.
You must have a very good memory because ever since probably like our first encounter, you always say hi, you always recognize me everywhere, and I always appreciate that your hospitality is
Thank you, Dave.
fantastic.
We try.
You succeed. If people want to, because we've talked about a lot of restaurants today, so we have Kathmandu Momo in the Innerrail. We have the brand new location. And do you have the exact address of that? I'd say 16th and Farnam is probably the easiest spot. But of the new
because
spot,
there's
Cattle
two
Call?
addresses. I think our mailing address is different than the GPS
Sure.
map address. I think 1603 Farnham is the GPS the map address. But
Got you.
It takes you to the north entrance.
Oh, okay.
So we're on the entrance is actually on the east.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but that's the address we give out just because. But 16th and Farnham, I don't think you can miss us.
You can't miss it. You've got a nice open sign that's there and very close to Block 16. If it's in the former Culprit Cafe spot,
right next to Green Room,
Oh yeah, Mercury's right over there, and all sorts of good stuff.
Yeah.
And then Saffron is right across from Kathmandu Momo in the Innerrail. It's in Exarban, but it has its own space. It's not in the Innerrail hall there. So
the Saffron. Yeah. Saffron's across from next to Erbsaint.
Oh yeah,
It's a landmark.
Yeah.
DJ's dugout across from DJ's. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, we're about 3 years old, but yeah, that's how you can. We don't have a proper Saffron sign, but I think it's pretty visible. It's the corner shop. you
Yes.
know? Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, and you can, if you're walking around Exarban, you can definitely see how nice the place is from the outside because you have the nice windows there and a lot of
we
good
got big
seating.
windows and
As we are having this discussion with the cattle call being so new, constantly evolving and things like that, where is the best place to keep an eye on all of these restaurants? Where's the news at?
Well, we treat them so independently. I think the only two things that's tied up is Momo and Cattle Call. So if we haven't gone live on the website for Cattle Call, but if you follow us on the social, Instagram, and even Facebook is not super active, but Instagram is where we do most of our, updates. It's for Cattle Call, we're Cattle Call Omaha. And then if you follow us in Momo Station, then we kind of share the information, the post. But Kathmandu Momo Station would be it's social, and then Saffron we have a proper website for that for online ordering and event room booking and all of that. So it'll primarily be website and social for Saffron, and for Momo and Cattle Call. Give us a follow if you haven't, but it'll primarily that's our way of sharing updates.
Instagram's the place there. That's perfect. Well, Sagar, thank you so much for talking about all of these restaurants, all of this cuisine. I have eaten at every single one of those spots that you mentioned and iterations thereof. So, and
I thank you for that, Dave. Thank you.
Well, it's so easy when the food is delicious. So, and I don't know anywhere else that one can get a Momo in town. But I love coming in for. I always have a hard time whether to get the steamed or the fried. And one of these days, I need like a dozen combo. I need a 6 and 6 so I can have them both. But thank you so much for your food, for your hospitality, and spending time with me on your day off. Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me, and I look forward to seeing you mainly at Momo Station, so I'll probably see you there soon.
I think that is very, very likely. Well, we will close it down in studio so that you can go back to your family and hopefully get a little bit of rest somewhere. And that's it. This is Dave Zorko on Saturday Omaha. And as we say, until we eat again, stay hungry. Bye.
Our show is recorded and produced by Saturday Omaha. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, as well as email SaturdayOmaha@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and stay hungry.
Saturday Omaha.
Eat this.